Hi guys, and welcome to my very first vlog. This channel will be dedicated to my love of books. What I wanted to do with this very first video was to let you all get to know me and what it is I plan on doing with this channel. And I thought, what better way to get to know me if I share with you some of my favorite books in various different genres. The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. The Book Thief is one of my most favorite in children's literature. There's a lot of fiction that takes place during World War II, but The Book Thief is just very new and refreshing, and it tells the story of everyday Germans. And the most unique thing about The Book Thief is that it's told through the perspective of death, and how he meets this little German girl who is stealing books. The subject matter is something far different from what I've seen in most children's literature. And guys, if you aren't crying by the end, you have no soul. Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I've come across two types of people when it comes to this book. There's the people who love it, and then there's the people who hate it. It does get a bit wordy and descriptive in places, but the overall romance and story is what makes this book such a classic. And if you aren't shipping Jane and Rochester by the end, something is seriously wrong with you. The Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. Now this is a must in the fantasy category. I actually didn't start reading the series until after the third movie, and so afterwards I went and got what was currently in the series, which I believe was the first 5 at the time. And I remember for Half-Blood Prince going out the very next day to get it and start reading. And then for Deathly Hallows, I even went to a midnight release, which was really exciting. So yes, I am a Potter nerd. And can I just say, Hermione is seriously my twin sister. Every reader has their thing, that one genre that you go to that is your go-to material. Historical fiction is my thing, and it's probably the genre that I have the most of on my shelves. If a book is about the Tudors, or the Borgias, the Plantagenets, or the Romanovs, or even World War II, for instance, I have to read that book. So for this category, I had the most difficult time even narrowing it down to just one book. So I picked 3. Memoirs of a Geisha by Arthur Golden. Talk about amazing. Every time that I have read this book, as soon as I put it down after the very last word, I instantly want to pick it right back up. The Bronze Horseman by Paulina Simmons. You guys, this is one of the most beautiful love stories that I have ever read. The protagonists go through so much angst and drama, it's not even funny. Plus, top it off with the start of World War II, and you have some great storytelling. The Other Boleyn Girl by Philippa Gregory. Philippa Gregory is probably one of my favorite authors when it comes to historical fiction, and whenever she releases a new book, I have to get it. People either love her or hate her, but I personally really love Philippa Gregory's writing style and her unique take on history, and I like that she writes stories about these historical women who you often don't really even get to learn about or are overlooked in history. Child 44 by Tom Rob Smith. What I look for in a mystery thriller book is an intriguing story, a story that also has me guessing at every clue, unique murders, a likable protagonist, and of course, an amazing sadistic villain that by the end of the novel, you are glad they're dead. Child 44 has all of this and so much more. And it's seriously a really difficult book to even put down. In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. I first read this book for an American literature class, and to be honest, I wasn't that thrilled about reading it. I don't typically read much nonfiction to begin with. It has to be something specific for me to actually enjoy it. And if the writing reads too much like a textbook, I will most likely fall asleep. But with this book, absolutely not. It's hard to believe that In Cold Blood is actually considered nonfiction because Capote writes with this really unique style and it comes across almost more like fiction. It's thought-provoking and intriguing and horrifying all at the same time. And it's hard to believe that this is in fact a true story. Hamlet? Macbeth? Hamlet. No, Macbeth. To be or not to be, life's but a walking shadow. Hambeth. Guys, seriously. Please tell me I am the first one to come up with that. As you have probably already guessed, two of my most favorite plays come from William Shakespeare, Hamlet and Macbeth. These two plays have some of the most iconic characters and iconic lines. And they're actually both plays that I can sit down and simply read them without actually having to have some type of performance going on in front of me. Poetry is one of my least favorite genres, but I do have a few favorites. I had trouble narrowing it down to just strictly one poem, so I figured what I'd do, I'd share one of my favorite longer poems and one of the, I guess, a shorter poem. For a longer poem, I picked Goblin Market by Christina Rossetti. Goblin Market is just so beautifully written. It has so many ambiguous meanings and themes to it. Is it literally about a girl who was abducted by creepy goblin men? Or is it some type of deep metaphorical poem about sexual awakening? But everyone should at least read this poem once in their life. For a short poem, I picked I Could Not Stop for Death by Emily Dickinson. This may sound morbid, but I really like poetry that's about death. And if that's your thing, Emily Dickinson is the place to go. The poetry is just so lyrical and pretty, and it's really great to read out loud. Romance is also another genre that I don't typically read, but I think I can classify Lauren Willig's Pink Carnation series here. Not only does this story have romantic plots and romantic characters, but it's also historical fiction. And another odd thing about this series is how witty and entertaining and hilarious it is. The series takes place in both modern-day England and Napoleonic England. Oh, and if you like spies, there's that too. Edgar Allan Poe is one of my most favorite authors when it comes to the short story. He has such a great blend of mixing the gothic with the horror. But if I had to narrow down one of my favorite short stories from Poe, it would have to be The Fall of the House of Usher. Very eerie and creepy, and you can't help but wonder what on earth is going on in this house. And look, guys, it's a plushie Poe! Look at him! Oh, isn't he adorable? Aww. Quoth the raven, nevermore. The Mortal Instruments and The Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare. But out of the two series, I would probably pick The Infernal Devices over The Mortal Instruments because I really like the Victorian era setup. There's something about this world that Cassandra Clare created that's just really unique and enjoyable to me. And the characters, I think, are all actually very likable in an odd sense, which I don't think you can get that in a lot of young adult fiction. Plus, these series have some really likable heroines who are very proactive and take charge. And they're not like whiny and pathetic and oh. And yes, it's young adult fiction. There's obviously going to be romance and love triangles. But in these two series by Cassandra Clare, I think you don't get that mushy, lovey-dovey crap. Overall, they're just really fun to read. Really great escape fiction. And Clockwork Princess is coming out sometime later this year, I believe. Really looking forward to it. So there you have it, some of my favorite books. The basic format that I have planned right now for this channel is to have about 3 videos per month and probably releasing them on Fridays. One week I will be doing a book review. Then the next week I will be doing a bookshelf tour. And then for the 3rd week I will be doing something interactive, a Q&A session if you want to call it that, where you guys can actually ask me some questions. So, what type of questions can you ask me? Anything that is book related is up for grabs. It can be a funny question. It can be a serious question, as long as it's something to do with books. You can ask, what's the worst book you've ever read? Or, who's the sexiest character in literature? Or even, what's the funniest author bio you've ever read at the back of a book? And if you like someone else's question, hit the thumbs up button. The question with the most thumbs up will be answered in a future video. Thanks for watching my very first video. I really hope you guys liked it, and I really hope you plan on sticking around. So please hit the subscribe button and feel free to share it. Bye!